There's nothing more frustrating than putting your heart into photography and still feeling like your photos are missing something. They're not bad, but forgettable. I used to think I needed a better camera or better eyes. Turns out, it was bad habits that were holding me back. In this video, I'll show you habits that ruin your photos without you even realizing it, and how to break free from them. First, is always shooting at eye level. Shooting at eye level is natural because it reflects how we see the world every day. But because of that, it often results in predictable images that lack dynamic angles and a unique point of view. If every shot is at eye level, you could be missing out on adding depth, drama, and storytelling elements, offering nothing new to draw the viewers in. So instead, mix it up. Shoot from the hip, which I feel is the best way to go because once you get used to it, you can consistently keep it going on the fly. This subtle shift in perspective keeps it natural yet adds a unique angle, giving your photos a different feel that stands out. It's also a method that makes you stealthy, letting you get closer to your subjects without them noticing. And when you get close, shooting from the hip emphasizes the lower angle, creating a more dramatic look. What you can also mix in is shooting from the above. This will shake things up further. This high vantage point can reveal patterns or emotions you'd miss at eye level, adding variety to your work. Breaking this habit of only shooting from eye level opened my eyes to angles I never considered, turning ordinary scenes into something compelling. Next, always rushing and never waiting. Constantly rushing and only shooting run and gun style can rob you of the depth your photos deserve. Great moments or scenes can't always be there the moment you arrive. You need to have patience to let them develop into a photogenic moment. I've noticed that run and gun shots often lack emotion or meaningful moments because you're just walking around snapping what is in front of you, leaning closer to documentation of the surroundings, which isn't wrong, but it doesn't align with my love for photos with emotional weight. Waiting for the right moment and shooting something that matters beats empty frames every time. This habit also skips the exploration that fuels photography. You don't dig into options if you're always on the move, missing angles or compositions that could elevate your work. Slowing down is a good habit to have in a creative process. It teaches you to breathe and see more. I'm not saying don't ever shoot like this. Mixing run and gun fits crowded places where you have to keep moving or you're holding up traffic. Or you might feel like you stand out too much in certain spots if you just stand there with your camera. Blending it with slow shooting keeps things dynamic and fun, giving you the best of both worlds. Next is shooting for edit. Shooting with a mindset of fixing it later breeds laziness. Exposing randomly because you know you can likely retrieve most details if you shoot in RAW. This leads to sloppy habits that hurt your craft, because you're not thinking about the environment in a photography sense. Like, oh, it's dark, I should open up my aperture and use a slower shutter speed. Another pitfall is not zooming with your feet, shooting for crop. Cropping and getting closer are two very different things. You can't explore different angles if you're not physically moving in. And a lot of photography is about walking and exploring, which you skip if you get lazy and just shoot from the spot you feel comfortable with. Always aim for the best practice of getting it right in camera. I've learned that nailing exposure and composition on the spot forces you to engage with your surroundings, sharpening your eye and saving time in post, and keeping your edits more consistent. This habit builds discipline, turning each shoot into a deliberate act rather than a hopeful edit session. Next, always shooting wide open or f11. Falling into the trap of always shooting wide open or sticking with the same aperture can box in your creativity. When you first start, you want that creamy bokeh, so you always shoot wide open with a telephoto lens. Then, later on, you hear that deep depth of field is the best thing. So it's f11 with a wide lens so you can have everything sharp. f11 is great for zone focusing, and I use it a lot, especially for those occasional run and gun moments. It's a lifesaver for quick shots. But I see too many people locking into the same aperture and distance for most of their photos, always closing down to f11 and staying around 2 meters from the subject. Depth of field is a storytelling tool. Overusing one setting means you're not fully exploring its potential. This habit, when repeated over and over, makes photos one-dimensional, where the only difference between the photos is the subject's faces. Deep depth of field is good, but I feel that there should be intention behind it. Not just always only shooting at f11 even when the background has nothing to offer. On the other hand, always shooting wide open often results in neglecting the story because we get no information beyond the subject's face, putting all the burden on them to be photogenic. If they aren't photogenic, the shot falls flat. I feel that mixing different apertures and distances according to the situation is a more thoughtful approach. For instance, if the backdrop is dull and you've already captured it in other shots, and your subject is really photogenic, go wide open or close to wide open to isolate them. But if the background adds storytelling or emotion, close down your lens. But it doesn't always have to be f11. If your lens is 50mm or under, f5.6 with some distance can hint at the setting without spelling out every detail. Instead of defaulting to your go-to settings, take a moment to think about what each scene calls for. Next, only shooting in your favorite conditions. I have first-hand experience with this. When I switched to digital from film, I suddenly got to shoot street photography at night much more easily. So I started shooting rainy nights and I fell in love with it. I'd always go out on those rare nights to my favorite spot. It was fun, but the problem was I saw this as the only time to shoot. Rainy nights are rare, so I shot less and less, and with fewer practice, I didn't improve. Rare photo walks become too precious and important. If you miss one, it stings. And bad shooting days, which happen all the time, discourage you into guilt and negative self-talk. It's beneficial to go out often despite it not being your favorite conditions to keep practicing in different settings and locations. This also makes each photo walk less important, making you numb to bad shooting days. This habit of only shooting in your favorite conditions also makes your work one-dimensional. Predictability is bad. If you're only drawn to one thing, that's fine. But tastes change. Mine certainly did. I'm not as drawn to rainy nights as I was before. If you want to try sunlight for the first time later, you start from ground zero. So why not practice now? Having interest in various photography types or genres keeps your creativity flowing, even when one style bores you. Next, centering everything by default. Placing your subject right in the middle, especially with too much headroom and their eyes dead center, is a habit that gets boring really quick. It's only natural to do this if your focus point is in the middle, but relying on it will hold your photography back. Learn to fight this instinct. Use the rule of thirds grid on your viewfinder to guide your composition. Practice incorporating negative space to add breathing room and interest to your frames. Switch to a different focusing mode like area center instead of spot focus. This way, you don't have to compose your subject in the middle and then recompose. You can frame how you want and shoot directly. Some cameras like my Ricoh GR3X has touch to focus and shoot, letting me compose how I want and tap where I want to focus, breaking free from that central trap. This small change has transformed how I frame my shots, making them feel alive and intentional. Next is gear obsession. Always getting swayed by new tech can derail your progress. New gear is of course good, and in some genres, advantages like faster focus, faster and sharper lens, or global shutter could make a difference. But this often leans into putting too much emphasis on technical perfection, which can muddy the point of photos that should evoke emotion or tell stories. Even in those genres where gear matters a lot, they've managed fine so far, so the latest tech might not be a night and day difference. Feeling bad about your camera is also a thing because what you have is usually enough, and sometimes it is better than new gear because of its character. Have you ever seen portraits or daily photos so clinically sharp and smooth that they lose emotion? I come across those and they rarely move me. Sharper doesn't always equal better. Understand that visual art is about evoking emotion, and character matters more than clarity. My 16-year-old Pocket Digicam still produces incredible results thanks to its colors. I'm not saying all new gear is bad or gear doesn't matter. If you need a different focal length, go for it. If a lens is slow to focus or vignettes too much, switch it out. If you lost all emotion and connection to your camera and it's the only thing holding your photography back, then get a new one that reignites your passion. Just don't get in the habit of paying too much attention to new releases and always wanting the next best thing. Next is comparing. Doom scrolling and comparing on social media can creep into your mind, even if you think you're not consuming it in a negative way. These days, I don't post on Instagram and try to take breaks from photography on my free time. Too much time there fuels negative self-talk and FOMO, making you feel that you need to be in grand locations like New York to get the best photos. This mindset gets you to shoot your surroundings less, always chasing the perfect spot. Shooting to post on Instagram amplifies this. Because you spend so much time there, you want to get involved and perform well. And to maximize it, you post vertical photos, which leads to you shooting vertical when horizontal will suit it better. It might even push you towards short-form videos over photos, all altering your creative voice. Stepping away has helped me reclaim my focus and shoot what feels true to me. At the end of the day, photography is not about perfection. It's about being awake to light, moments, and mistakes. Breaking bad habits isn't about being strict. It's about making room for better instincts to grow. So go out there, mess up, learn, and let your photos reflect not just what you saw, but how it felt to be there. So what bad photography habit did you have and how did you overcome it? Let me know in the comments. And if this video helped, then please like and subscribe to my channel because it keeps me going. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next one.